toasting one. And we're back at Greenway East. This is the 4th annual Miller High Life Pro Duckpin Classic. We're in the final match, getting ready for our final match in the women's division. Karen Smith has advanced from the 4th position. She'll now meet the number 1 seeded bowler, Pat Maltham. So, of course, Pat's been waiting in the wings. What kind of effect do you think this has on Pat?
Well, she knows Karen has, again, 3 games under her belt, so she's going to bowl her game. I don't think this has any effect at all on her. She should be in a pretty relaxed state. She knows she's guaranteed 2nd place. She just averaged 161 for 5 games, so if you're not confident at that point.
That's for sure. And if you know Pat, you know she's a very excitable person. I've seen her make some shots and scoot down 3 or 4 lanes in excitement, you know, shouting and, you know, clutching her fist and so forth. So we should have a very, very good final match. First place is $1,000, $500 to the runner-up. And this is one stop that's part of the Women's National Duckpin Association. It's their inaugural season. There used to be a Women's Pro Tour. That organization disbanded. This one formed, and they seem like they're going to be very successful, Joe.
Well, the girls have put a lot of hard hours voluntarily into this organization, and when that many people work to make something go, it has a good chance.
Yeah, Pat starts off with a strike, so that's the kind of bowling we said that Pat could do. And of course, you see her getting excited, and we're only in the 1st frame. You're going to see a lot of excitement, a lot of crazy movements on the part of Pat Maltham.
Well, I tell you, Stace, she has a way of putting a little electricity into the crowd. She is a very excitable bowler. She gets herself pumped up, so to speak, and she's ready to go.
Now, I understand that Pat started on the wrong lane, so she's rolling again. And she gets a strike, so even though she got a strike on the left lane, they made her bowl again, she doesn't.
Stacy,
so she gets off to a good start both ways.
What should have disappointed her very much, it turned around and it worked just the opposite. The girl is so pumped up. She knew I had a strike marked on my score sheet already. She didn't want me to have to erase it.
Karen almost matches her, leaves a 10-pin standing. And this should prove to be a very exciting match. 2 excellent bowlers. Pat Maltham carries a 141 average, 140 on the tour. And Karen picks up her spare. I think we're looking at bowlers, one in Karen Smith that is consistent, and we know what pretty much the kind of scores she'll bowl. Pat Maltham's the kind of bowler that can get hot and really run away.
Well, Stace, Pat is a very consistent bowler, but she has the ability to get herself so up that she can shoot some big games. But of course, Karen she's bowling her game. Karen has not made mistakes today. She made them early in the 1st match.
And Karen comes back with a strike. This one, I'm sure, is going to go down to the wire. Karen has 20 in the 1st frame. Pat Maltham back up. She's from Baltimore. She was ranked number 3rd in the nation in 1981-82. Comes back with a good, almost a good spare break till that pin fell down, but this is still very makeable.
Well, Stace, the target is the same. She now has the 310. Before, she had the 3610, but she's going to shoot her object. We have all the ingredients for quite a match here, Stace.
And she picks up a spare.
Stace, both of the girls have 20 in the 1st box. Karen has a strike, which gives her 2 balls to count in the 2nd. So this is a very big...
Hey, Pat Maltham back up in her 3rd frame, bowling on a spare. Sees herself a very difficult 7-9.
Well, I tell you, Stacy, Pat moves pins so well, and she's so loose at this point. She's a rapid worker. She's going to shoot 1 pin, and she'll move it around if she hits it.
It goes off to the side a little bit. And maybe she ought to slow down a little bit. She's getting so excited, it may affect her concentration and poise.
Well, I tell you, her ability, she has so much ability that I don't know if the excitement really does.
She just gave up 2 pins there, 2 very important pins. And A lot of people like the kid, Pat. They think she waddles around. I guess that's why she likes Duckpin so much.
She would make a nice mascot, wouldn't she?
And Karen's got herself the same kind of break that Pat that she had before, the recent frame.
Well, Karen's job at this point is to work very hard on her concentration, because as you have seen, Pat is a very excited person, and it can disrupt your concentration. So she's going to try to stay locked in on her game.
All right, back on line.
Karen has 39 in the second frame now. And she'll have the lead after this third frame is completed. Pat Maltham has 46 after 3. And Karen's got 49. She's got a 3-pin lead after 3 frames. I think that's the kind of match we'll see the whole way through.
Anybody's game, Stacy. It's anybody's game. Both of these girls they're on their game or they wouldn't be here. They know they're relaxed. They know they're guaranteed second place. Of course, they would like that star. And again, the star is so important to these bowlers. The Pro Tours are just the prestigious events of the duckpin game.
And a good break there for Karen. Of course, she's got to be tired. This is her 17th game in 2 days, and no matter how good you are, you still got to feel it a little bit.
Well, Stace, if she's tired at this point, she doesn't know it. She's on a high, and she doesn't know. When she's finished, she's going to be exhausted, whether she wins or loses. But at this point, she's not feeling any fatigue.
And she picks up that spare beautifully. Again, we're seeing a lot of good spare shots made. Karen 59 plus in the 4th. Pat Maltham stepping up in her 4th frame. And she almost had the 7-10 left. She's left just with the 10-pin.
Again, Pat, a very rapid worker. Now, she has taken a second on this ball. I tell you, as rapid as Pat works, it would be very easy for her to force Karen into bowling rapid, which is not Karen's game. But Karen has 3 head-to-head matches only up the ladder under her belt, and she seems very locked in. Pat bowls very rapidly all the time, so this is no change for her.
Comes back with a good 9 count. You can see her trying to use some body English to get that last pin to fall down. Now, Pat, she does have one tour title to her credit. Last year, she won a stop at Southside Bowl in Hagerstown. And she misses that spare shot, so...
It's just a matter of she's lost her concentration a little bit, Stace. She does work rapid, but sometimes anybody can work a little too rapid.
And she does get her 10. We have a good crowd here at Greenway East, a lot of cheering, a lot of excitement. I'm sure everybody's picked out their favorite and has been rooting for them all the way through. Karen Smith looking for her first title.
Pat has a way of getting the crowd into the game, doesn't she, Steve?
Yes, she does. Sort of like Mark the Bird Fidrich when he was with the Detroit Tigers.
I tell you, at this point, you really have to give Karen a lot of credit. She's executing. She's staying on her game. I can't emphasize that enough. Nothing has seemed to distract her. She's kept the same pace. She's taken just about the same amount of time between each ball.
And she misses the spare, so they kind of equalized each other. Pat missed a spare in her last frame. Karen missing a single pin spare in this frame. So they've each given up some very good opportunities.
Once again, in this match, Stace, the girls know each other very well. They bowl together in the inner city leagues, and they bowl in, many tournaments together. And they're both from the Baltimore area. Karen seems very calm and collected,
yes,
doesn't
she does. She's maintaining her poise very well. Again, she's looking for her first Pro Tour victory ever. Pat does have one to her credit. Karen has a 3-pin lead. We've completed 5 frames. First place, $1,000, and a nice trophy.
And the star, Steve.
And the star. That's almost as important as the money. When the money's gone, the star is still there. And a chop. That looks like the first time that Karen seemed to lose her concentration at the last moment.
Well, I don't know if she lost her concentration. the ball got away a little bit. She tried to get a little extra on it. That was a big box for her. She had a 3-pin lead, and a spare would have assured her of maintaining her lead.
And she chops again. So she's going to try to get 8 out of this. We're halfway through our final match, and Pat Maltham will be the last bowler when it's all over. She'll have 1 frame to go. Karen picks up 7. Gives her 86. So Pat would still need a mark in her 6th frame to try to get the lead.
The key here is for both of the girls to stay on their game, not let themselves bowl against the score that they're posting at this time. When they get on the lane and pick up their ball, they should almost go blank.
And there's a Smurf, a little mascot for Pat, a little good luck charm. She leaves herself a makeable spare, but, you know, certainly not one of the tailor-made spares.
She's left the 1-2-10. She'll block out the fact that the 10 pin's there, and she'll shoot the 1-2.
And she picks up the spare. Beautiful shooting by Pat Maltham. It'll be interesting to see how Karen Smith will come back after that kind of shot. That is the kind of shot that can psychologically damage your opponent.
Stace, I've seen Pat Maltham so excited, and this has been a few years back, in an All-Star, where she looks loose and very excited, and before you know it, she's almost in tears. She's that filled up inside over the match.
And she comes back with a strike on top of that spare. So Pat's starting to get hot again.
I noticed that Pat has sort of calmed herself down a little bit. I don't know if you noticed that, but she took just a little, maybe a part of a second longer that time and threw a strike.
And maybe she talked to the Smurf, got a little bit of advice. All right, Karen Smith up here in her 7th frame. Gets enough action again. I'd say of all the bowlers we've seen in our matches, her ball creates the most action.
Well, if you watch, and as I described earlier, you want to get the ball out in front of you, and she does that very well. And this is what creates the revolutions on the ball that causes these pins to spin around that so many people think is luck. She creates this luck.
And she's picked up an important spare for herself.
In all 4 of her, well, the 3 previous games, in this game, she has not let anything shake her. She's come back, you know, equal to the task every time they put the pressure on her. So Pat has a 9-pin edge with the ball. She has a strike to Karen's spare, which can quite often be a big pitch, a big ball.
Taking her time naturally as she's in her 4th game of the up-the-ladder matches. Each ball very important. And she has given herself another good break. 8 pins on that count.
Left the 6-10, and again, she's keeping the ball in play. Hitting her object, keeping her hand in, arm in close to her side, following through very well, and getting the revolutions. That ball wasn't exactly where she wanted it, but because of the way she's throwing, a good follow-through, she's making things happen.
And she almost gets the pin to come out of the gutter, but just not enough.
That was a big ball. That was a big ball. She wanted that spare very bad. She's down 1 pin in the 7th frame, and Pat has a 2-ball count on her strike. So Karen knew that was a very big spare.
And she drops that pin. Karen now has 113 in the 8th. Pat Maltham 105 plus. And you can see for yourself what Pat is doing to the crowd. She doubles up in the 7th and 8th frame. And don't think that she isn't excited, believe me.
But she's getting herself together. I have to give her a lot of credit because I've seen her sometimes at that point almost get so excited that she forgot that she was in a match and throw an errant ball. But she's collecting herself. She throws the same ball first each box, so she is waiting for that ball to return.
So it looks like Papa Smurf is having a good effect. First place, $1,000. Second place, $500. That's what these 2 ladies are shooting for. And a good night count.
Very 29 box. It give her a pretty commanding lead, Stace. She has 134 and counting in the 8th box to 113 for Karen. Good extension. She has good extension.
And she's got the spare.
She is really gifted, Stace, with a lot of natural ability. She does so much with the ball just as she's ready to release it. She has good timing. I've never seen Pat's timing go bad on her. She always seems to be able to make the delivery, even if she's a little off balance.
After 8 frames, Karen Smith is down by 31 pins. Pat Maltham has a spare in the ninth. And she's just off to the right a little bit, leaves herself a very tough shot.
Well, again, Stace, she has the 1, 2, 6, and 10, but she should block out the fact that the 6, 10 is there and shoot the 1, 2. Try to make something happen. This is a very important ball.
And she picks up a beautiful spare. I was just about to say that if she didn't make that spare shot, the game would have been over. Because the most she could have shot would have been a 153.
It would have been curtains. The girl just keeps coming back. She has a lot of heart. She has a lot of heart. As you've seen, you've watched her bowl 4 games, and she just stays in there, knocks down as many as she can, and she does a very good job of not defeating herself. You have to beat her.
Comes back with a good 8 count.
The most she can shoot, Stace, is 151. We have a champion.
That's right. Pat Maltham is, except for having to roll the 10th box for official purposes, Pat Maltham is the winner of the 4th annual Miller High Life Duckpin Classic. She'll take home $1,000, a trophy, and of course her 2nd star for a Pro Tour victory.
Karen keeps chugging along. I'm going to bet you a Miller Lite, Stacy, that Pat Maltham has a few tears.
Well, I wouldn't blame her. Not just the money, but the satisfaction of winning. It's her 2nd Pro Tour victory. She won last year at Southside Bowl in Hagerstown. Karen Smith, 2nd place, and she'll get $500 for that accomplishment. It's just a matter of getting the final scores posted.
Pat can't wait to throw this 10th box. She's just so happy. And Karen come a long way. I'm sure she has no regrets. Right. She bowled well today.
Finishes with a 148 in this game. Again, bowling tremendous, but losing with a high score like that. And Pat gets a strike. When things are going your way, they're going your way. I think Pat created a lot of fans here today.
Sounds like they love her, don't it? This is what this game's all about. What do you call it? Our duckpin magic. This couldn't have happened any better. I tell you, Karen, they know each other, again, very well, and sure, she's a little disheartened, but she'll be back.
Pat has thrown some outstanding games in her career. She's got 5 500 sets and 6 200 games. Her highs are 221 and 515.
I tell you, as I stated, she's a very consistent bowler and very capable of exploding as she's done. She's going to shoot 180 game.
Right,
and,
she should be in the 180s.
As Karen Smith shot 186 before, so the girls bowled very well today.
Finishes with a 184. Pat Maltham defeats Karen Smith 184 to 148. Pat Maltham is the champion of the 4th annual Miller High Life Duckpin Classic. We'll return for our awards presentation right after this message.